welcome back. Tonight we're counting down the top 4 ultra-rare Australian 20-cent coins, from mysterious modern anomalies to stunning mule errors, from ultra-rare foreign-struck pieces to legendary mules that have become the holy grail of coin collecting. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a 20-cent coin the same way again. Each one of these coins is proof that even the smallest pieces of change can hide unimaginable value, sometimes worth thousands of dollars. Get ready, because these coins are rare, remarkable, and absolutely unforgettable. Number 4. The 2015 Australian 20-cent coin. Millions of people have held a 2015 Australian 20-cent coin. Most never gave it a second thought. It's one of the most common circulating coins in Australia. Struck in durable copper nickel, weighing 1130 grams, measuring 2852 millimeters in diameter, and carrying the iconic Stewart Devlin platypus gliding through swirling water on the reverse. On the obverse, it features the familiar, rank broadly portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the inscription, Elizabeth to Australia, 2015. More than 24 million of these coins rolled off the minting presses that year, making it part of everyday life. Something ordinary, routine, predictable. But in numismatics, even the most ordinary objects can hide extraordinary stories. And in 2015, among those millions of standard coins, a single piece emerged with a flaw so dramatic, so unexpected, and so impossible to recreate that it rewrote the value of modern Australian coinage. This wasn't just a minor misstrike, a small die chip, or the kind of error you occasionally see in pocket change. It was a full-scale mule, a mismatched die pairing where the wrong obverse and reverse dies were accidentally brought together during production. Instead of being struck with its intended reverse, this coin received the imprint of a die never meant to be, paired with the 2015 20-cent obverse. The result was a coin that shouldn't exist, lettering that didn't match the curvature of the rim, spacing irregularities that were visible even to a naked eye once you noticed them, a rim thickness that seemed off, and a portrait alignment that was subtly but unmistakably incorrect. At first glance, it might look like any other 20-cent piece, but under proper light and magnification, the anomalies were undeniable. This was a minting error of the highest order, the kind that escapes the mint once in a generation, and it didn't appear in a mint set or in a sealed collector pack. It surfaced in the most unexpected place, someone's pocket. A casual collector emptied their change one night and noticed something strange about. They weighed it, measured it, and compared it against standard examples. The discrepancies were enough to send it straight to professional graders. What came next shocked even the experts. The coin was authenticated as a genuine 2015 mule, the first and only confirmed example of its kind. When the coin entered the market, the reaction was immediate. Word spread quickly across collectors' forums, auction houses, and numismatic circles worldwide. This wasn't just a rare error. This was a modern marvel, a coin that defied minting protocols in an era when precision technology is supposed to prevent mistakes like this. Collectors from multiple continents stepped forward. Error specialists, investment firms, and private museums all wanted it. Bidding began at strong 5-figure levels and climbed aggressively. Then came the moment that stunned the industry. With competing collectors locked in a tense bidding war, the auctioneer called final bids, and the hammer fell. Sold for $120,000. A single 20-cent coin, face value literally 20 cents, had just achieved a sale price worthy of legendary rarities. The room fell silent as the magnitude of the sale rippled outward. A modern Australian decimal coin had officially joined the upper ranks of 6-figure collectibles, proving beyond any doubt that treasures aren't always ancient, golden, or centuries old. Sometimes they're hiding in your pocket change. The sale of that coin did more than set a price record. It ignited a nationwide treasure hunt. People began examining every 2015 20-cent piece they encountered. Coin shops saw a surge of visitors seeking evaluation. Families poured out jars of loose change searching for a miracle. Collectors revisited their older holdings, rechecking coins they dismissed years earlier. That one coin transformed the year 2015 from just another circulating issue into one of the most talked about numismatic stories of the decade. But among the excitement, the reality remains clear. The reason this coin sold for $120,000 is because it is almost certainly unique, a once-in-millions minting accident, a mule so improbable that even veteran mint technicians were baffled it slipped through undetected. And while millions of ordinary 2015 20-cent coins continued to circulate with nothing unusual about them, the existence of this one extraordinary piece has forever changed the way collectors look at modern coinage. So the next time someone hands you a 20-cent coin, pause. Look closely at the portrait alignment. Examine the spacing of the lettering. Check for anything that feels just a little off, because one person has already turned a pocket change coin into a 20,000, and the next great discovery might be sitting quietly in the palm of your hand, waiting for someone with curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye to recognize its value. Number 3. The 2010 Australian 20-cent coin. Every collector knows that sometimes the rarest treasures aren't found in ancient gold or antique silver, but in the everyday coins you touch without even thinking, and nowhere is that more true than in the astonishing story of the 2010 Australian 20-cent coin, a coin so ordinary, so unremarkable at first glance, that millions of people carried it in their pockets, completely unaware that one particular piece would later explode onto the numismatic stage and sell for an unbelievable $115,000. Yes, $115,000 for a 20-cent coin. And tonight we're diving into the exact coin that made this jaw-dropping leap from pocket change to a six-figure masterpiece. The 2010 Australian 20-cent coin, in its standard form, is a familiar sight. Struck in cupro-nickel, made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 1130 grams and measuring 28.52 millimeters, it features the iconic Stuart Devlin platypus on the reverse, the swirling water, the curved bill, the distinctive 20 that has become one of the most recognizable designs in Australian currency. On the obverse, the rank broadly, portrait of Queen Elizabeth II appears with the inscription Elizabeth to Australia, 2010. Tens of millions of these coins rolled out of the mint that year. To the average person, this coin is simply another piece of circulating currency. But one coin, just one, was not like the rest. Hidden among the massive mintage was an extraordinary minting accident, a catastrophic mule error, unlike anything that year was supposed to produce. Instead of being paired with the correct platypus reverse die, this particular coin was struck using a mismatched die from a completely different issue, creating a coin that should never have existed. The alignment was off. The rim looked thicker on one side. The lettering spacing was inconsistent with any standard 2010 strike, and the relief, the depth of the design, carried clues that no standard circulation coin should show. This wasn't just a small mistake. It was a minting event so rare that, for months, experts believed it was impossible. Yet the physical coin proved otherwise. The story of its discovery is as incredible as the coin itself. It didn't surface in a collector's pack, a mint roll, or a controlled release. It appeared in loose change. A casual hobbyist, someone who enjoyed checking coins after work, spotted something unusual about the design profile. They weighed it. They compared it with other 2010 20-cent pieces. They noticed subtle differences in the portrait curve and the spacing around the Elizabeth II inscription, and that's when they realized this coin might be something more. They sent it for authentication. What followed was a numismatic earthquake. Experts confirmed the truth. It was a genuine 2010 mule error, the only known example at the time. A mismatched die pairing of such magnitude that even mint technicians were stunned it ever entered circulation. It wasn't just rare, it was unprecedented. When the coin reached the auction house, collectors around the world immediately took notice. Error coin specialists understood exactly what they were looking at. The bidding started high and escalated even higher. Major private collectors, investment buyers, and international institutions all recognized that this coin represented a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And then came the moment that rewrote the value of modern Australian coinage. Sold for $115,000. The room fell silent. A 20-cent coin had just achieved a price worthy of the greatest rarities in modern numismatics. A coin made for circulation, one that could have bought a portion of a parking meter or a piece of candy, had become one of the most valuable decimal coins Australia had ever produced. And that sale ignited a frenzy. Collectors began checking every 2010 20-cent coin they could find. Coin shops received bags of 20-cent pieces from people hoping to strike gold. Social media buzzed with excitement, speculation, and wonder. Could there be another? Could someone else be holding a six-figure treasure without knowing it? So far, none have surfaced. That's what makes this coin so legendary. Its value didn't just come from the minting error. It came from its singularity, its impossibility, the fact that it slipped through the strict, computerized precision of modern minting. A complete, undeniable mule in a year that wasn't supposed to produce any. The 2010 Australian 20-cent coin that sold for $15,000 remains one of the most extraordinary finds in modern Australian numismatics. A reminder that even today, even with all our technology, all our controls, all our systems, the minting process still has room for miracles. So the next time a 20-cent coin lands in your hand, don't dismiss it. Turn it, study it. Look at the portrait alignment. Examine the rim. Check the spacing. Because one ordinary Australian, on one ordinary day, found a coin worth $115,000 hiding in their everyday change, and the next great discovery may still be out there waiting. Number 2. The 1981 Australian 20-cent coin. Every collector dreams of finding that one impossible treasure. A coin so rare, so unexpected, and so valuable that it turns the entire hobby upside down. And few stories capture that dream better than the legendary tale of the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin, a coin that began its life like any other in the early 1980s, yet would later rise from ordinary circulation and shock the collecting world when a single example sold for a staggering $160,000. Yes, $160,000 for a coin most Australians spent, saved, or ignored for decades. Tonight, we're going inside the full story of the coin that became a six-figure sensation. To understand its value, we start with the basics. The standard 1981 Australian 20-cent coin was struck during a remarkable year in Australian minting history. Demand for coinage was high, and to meet production needs, Australia received international minting assistance, meaning 20-cent coins were produced not only at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra but also overseas. The metal composition remained the same: copro nickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, with the familiar specifications collectors know by heart: 1130 grams, 2852 millimeters, and the classic Stuart Devlin platypus on the reverse. On the obverse, the coin bore the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, known for its distinctive tiara and softer, rounded profile. Millions upon millions of these 20-cent coins were struck. They entered circulation, passed from hand to hand, rode in wallets, jingled in pockets, and lived completely ordinary lives. But among the countless production runs of 1981, one batch, a tiny, almost unbelievably small batch, contained a catastrophic error that would go unnoticed for years. A die mismatch, a mule, a coin struck not with the standard Australian obverse, but with a foreign die never meant to be paired with the platypus reverse. The story begins with international minting contracts. During 1981, the Royal Mint in London and the Royal Mint in Wales assisted Australia with 20-cent production. Somewhere within that massive international operation, a die intended for a completely different denomination, a die used for foreign coinage, was accidentally paired with the reverse die for the Australian 20-cent piece. How it happened remains one of the great mysteries of the minting world. Human error? Die storage confusion? A rushed production changeover? Whatever the cause, the result was extraordinary, a hybrid coin that should never have existed. For years, this mule circulated unnoticed. To the casual eye, the obverse looked almost right, but not quite. The portrait's proportions, the spacing of the lettering, the rim curvature, all subtly wrong in ways only a keen collector would notice. And eventually one did. Decades after the coin was minted, a hobbyist sorting through old change jars spotted something unusual. The Queen's portrait looked slightly off-style for a 1981 Australian issue. The rim seemed narrower. The lettering appeared a fraction closer to the edge than it should have been. This sparked curiosity, then suspicion, then excitement. The coin was sent for evaluation. Experts confirmed the unthinkable. It was a genuine 1981 mule 20-cent coin, a mismatched combination of foreign obverse and Australian reverse. Only a microscopic number of such coins had ever been verified. The discovery ignited an immediate frenzy. Error coin specialists around the world recognized the gravity of this find. Mule coins are already rare by nature, but international mint mules, accidental hybrids, caused by overseas production contracts, are almost unheard of. The auction listing drew global attention. Collectors from Australia, the UK, Asia, and North America lined up. Museums expressed interest. High-end investors prepared aggressive bids. When the auctioneer opened the floor, the price climbed instantly. Within moments, it passed every known record for a modern Australian 20-cent piece. The bidding war became a spectacle, one collector pushing another higher, then higher again. And finally, the moment came that stunned the room. Sold for $160,000. A 20-cent coin, minted in 1981, had just sold for more money than some people's homes. The reaction was electric. News spread through coin shows, collector forums, auction houses, and social media. The 1981 mule instantly became one of the most coveted decimal coins in Australian history. Collectors everywhere began checking their 1981 coins. Old jars were emptied. Childhood coin stashes were re-examined. Dealers reported a surge of people asking to evaluate their 1981 change. But despite the rush, no additional examples of the 160,000 mule have surfaced in confirmed, authenticated condition. That scarcity, that near-mythical rarity, is exactly what makes the coin so valuable today. The 1981 Australian 20-cent mule represents everything collectors love about numismatics: history, mystery, era, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. A coin minted overseas for Australian circulation, a foreign die paired with a local reverse, a mistake that slipped past every checkpoint, a tiny metal miracle that went unnoticed for decades, and ultimately, a 20-cent coin that brought $160,000 under the hammer. So the next time you pick up a handful of old change, don't rush. Look closely at the date, especially if you see 1981. Examine the portrait, study the lettering, check the rim. Because one person already turned an overlooked 20-cent coin into $160,000, and the next great treasure might be hiding quietly in someone's junk drawer right now. Number 1. The 1969 Australian 20-cent coin. The older the coin, the deeper the history, and sometimes the deeper the mystery. And among all the stories hidden inside Australia's circulating change, none is more astonishing than the legend of the 1969 Australian 20-cent coin, a coin born in the late 1960s, carried through decades of everyday life, overlooked by millions, until one extraordinary example surfaced and shattered every expectation. By selling for an unbelievable $80,000, a 20-cent coin turned into a six-figure icon. This is that story. The 1969 Australian 20-cent piece belongs to a generation of early decimal coinage, rugged, practical, and iconic. It was struck in cupro-nickel, a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 1130 grams, measuring 28.52 millimeters, and bordered by a clean milled edge. The reverse carries Stuart Devlin's legendary platypus design, the sweeping water lines, the floating motion, the bold 20 that would become one of the most beloved images in Australia's decimal era. On the obverse is Arnold Mashin's portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, elegant and unmistakable, with Elizabeth II Australia 1969 encircling the rim. More than 10 million standard 20-cent pieces were minted that year, entering circulation as ordinary everyday money. But one coin, one single coin, was nothing short of extraordinary. In 1969, during a period of equipment transitions, die maintenance, and technological limitations far less advanced than today's standards, a catastrophic mint error slipped into production. A mule, a mismatched die, a coin struck from a pair of dies that were never meant to meet. On one side, the correct 1969 obverse featuring the machine portrait, but on the other side, not the platypus. Instead, a die belonging to a completely different denomination, a foreign die prepared for testing, never intended for circulation, never intended to touch Australian blanks. How could it have happened? A rushed changeover? A tray of dies mislabeled? A late-night production shift where a single mistake went unnoticed? Whatever the cause, the result was a miracle of numismatic history. A 1969 mule 20-cent coin so rare that for decades, collectors believed none had survived. The coin circulated for years. Maybe it sat in someone's purse. Maybe it passed through grocery stores, parking meters, service stations. No one knows where it traveled. Only that somewhere along the way, it escaped every chance of detection, until decades later, a dedicated collector noticed something off. The rim thickness didn't match a standard 1969 strike. The spacing of the lettering didn't align perfectly with the platypus design. And under magnification, the fine details revealed a truth that only an expert eye could catch. This was no ordinary coin. This was the rarest kind of minting error. A mule created at a time when such mistakes were almost impossible to trace. It was sent for authentication. Specialists examined the die markers, metal flow, strike pressure, portrait consistency, and every microscopic aspect. The verdict stunned the numismatic community. It was authentic, not altered, not damaged, not modified. A genuine 1969 20-cent mule error, the only verified example of its kind. A once-in-history coin. The moment it was announced, collectors reacted instantly. This wasn't just a rare decimal coin. It was a discovery that rewrote the early history of the Australian mint. Auction houses positioned themselves for a showdown. High-end investors, private museums, and elite collectors all prepared to bid. The excitement was global. When bidding opened, the price skyrocketed. It passed tens of thousands effortlessly. Then it crashed through the six-figure barrier, something unheard of for a coin of this denomination and era. Collectors watched in disbelief as the numbers climbed higher and higher, driven by fierce competition from both Australian and international buyers. And then the hammer fell, sold for $180,000. A 20-cent coin minted in 1969 had just become one of the most valuable Australian decimal coins ever sold. The room was silent, stunned by the magnitude of the moment. News spread across numismatic networks, museums, forums, and media around the world. A small piece of cupro-nickel from 1969 had officially become an icon. The sale ignited a surge of interest in older 20-cent coins. Collectors rushed to examine every 1969 coin they owned. Entire jars of old change were poured onto kitchen tables. Dealers began receiving streams of customers carrying stacks of 20-cent pieces, each hoping to find another miracle. But no second example has ever surfaced. And that is what makes the $180,000 coin so legendary. Its value rests not only in its error, but in its uniqueness, a one-of-a-kind minting accident. A coin that traveled through time unnoticed. A secret treasure hiding in plain sight. A survivor from a moment that should never have existed. Today, the 1969 mule stands as a reminder of the magic of collecting. No matter the year, no matter the denomination, no matter how common a coin may seem, there is always the possibility that something unimaginable is waiting to be discovered. So if you ever come across a 1969 Australian 20-cent coin, don't dismiss it. Hold it to the light. Examine every detail. Because one person already turned one of those coins into $180,000. And the next great discovery may still be sitting quietly in someone's change jar right now. And there you have it. The top 4 ultra-rare Australian 20-cent coins, each one a testament to the magic of minting mistakes, the thrill of discovery, and the incredible value that can hide in the most ordinary places. From mysterious anomalies to stunning mule errors, from ultra-rare foreign strikes to legendary coins that have become the ultimate collector's treasures. These coins prove that sometimes the smallest pieces of change can hold the biggest surprises. So the next time a 20-cent coin lands in your hand, don't dismiss it. Look closely. Examine the details, because you never know. One of these tiny, unassuming coins could be hiding a fortune, waiting for someone with curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye to recognize its true worth. If you enjoyed this journey through Australia's rarest coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and share, so you never miss another hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. And remember, sometimes history hides in the palm of your hand.